All right.
Welcome to Superherocuts Thunderbolts week. We are pumped. Happy to be back with you guys today. Let's get into what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be starting off with Thunderbolts movie expectations. Then we're going to get into the look at the first behind-the-scenes photos from Avengers Doomsday. Then why the Fantastic Four First Steps is not an origin movie. Then Zendaya's MJ will have a minor role in Spider-Man 4. Why fans want Mace Windu to come back to Star Wars. Ryan Reynolds speaks about Deadpool's future in the MCU. Avengers Doomsday plot rumors. And the fact that the script for X-Men is rumored to be finished.
Hey, what's up, dog? How you feeling today?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Good, man. It's Thunderbolts week, man. It's a great week when a superhero film is coming out. Also, this isn't superhero, but we got tickets for Mission Impossible, so I'm pretty happy about that too, dog.
Can't wait, man.
I'm happy about
It's
that.
crazy that we're seeing Thunderbolts this week, and then in 3 weeks we're going to see Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and this is and I got them for the AMC, so I'm hyped about that too. For
You going
MI,
Dolby?
yeah, for MI, yeah, I'm hyped.
So you got a Dolby theater near you?
Okay, so technically no, it's about 45 minutes away, so it's a little far a drive, but from where I work at a church,
But it's Dolby Cinema.
yes, it's Dolby. I checked. Yeah, I checked because you sent me a link a while ago with I think you sent me a link, but I had all the theaters, and so I checked, and the AMC that is it's about 45 away, but that AMC has it, so I was like, good, we got Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So, because I was I can't see that in regular. I can't.
Yeah, I had to find one by me also. But bro, I'm telling you, once you experience Dolby Cinema, you are never gonna want to go back. I even asked ChatGPT because everyone's been hyping IMAX, and I think there's a lot of people that just hype whatever is classic and traditional. There's certain people that will never admit something new is better than something old just because they've liked it for longer, which is stupid. It's a very closed-minded way of thinking. And, even ChatGPT will tell you Dolby is the best cinema experience you could have. The one thing that you could make an argument for with IMAX is that technically at certain scenes, when you get IMAX expanded ratio, the screen's a little bit larger. Mm-hmm. And for those larger those scenes, you have to keep in mind when the screen gets larger, that's a portion of the screen that you don't see unless you're seeing it in IMAX expanded ratio. So you could say you're not technically seeing the whole frame but number one, even in these blockbuster movies, it's a minimal amount of scenes that they use the expanded ratio in. So to see a movie in IMAX for expanded ratio of 20 minutes of the movie, it's kind of ridiculous. And IMAX doesn't have object-based sound. And object-based sound is you could only get that from really Dolby Atmos. And Dolby Cinema has Dolby Atmos. Dolby Cinema has Dolby Vision, and Dolby Vision has better colors. It has if you go regular IMAX, it's the same it's aspect ratio, so it's the same screen size as regular IMAX. The only IMAX that you get the full expanded ratio is typically IMAX 70 millimeter, which only I think there's only 16 movies have ever actually used it correctly. So it's very rare that it's ridiculous. IMAX is really very rarely do you actually get what you're supposed to get out of it. And even if you do, Dolby is better because of the sound.
Yeah. And that's the thing, bro. I went to the IMAX near me, and I wasn't really a fan, bro. And I went there a while ago, and the speakers were trash. And then what is also super weird is that because Cinemark is where I usually go, and what I'm starting to find is and I looked up their speakers. So they have this thing called XD, which is their version of their their Dolby. But they took out their.
It's not their Dolby; it's their Premiere.
Yeah. It's their version, right? But they took out but they had Dolby speakers, and they took them out and they switched them out with something else. And I think it was my like third or fourth rewatch of Brave New World, I forget, but you can hear the difference in the quality. But the regular theaters that they have Dolby speakers. And when I saw, what did I see last week? Frick. Sinners. When I saw Sinners, the speakers were just so live. So I'm excited to have the Dolby speakers and the Dolby screen. I think it's going to be a memorable night, bro. I can't wait.
You're never going to want to see, because once you experience Dolby Cinema, you feel like you're not getting you feel like you're getting cheated if you're seeing a movie that's not in Dolby Cinema. Like, once you go Dolby, it's hard to ever go back. Yeah. That's the thing, because it's just such a superior experience. Like, the best way to describe it is the object-based sound. It's not so object-based. The thing that Dolby has is that it's height channels. When you listen to any speaker, sound just goes out, and it usually just goes horizontally. Yeah. But because Dolby has the height channels, it doesn't just mean sound moves up and down. It means now sound can move like diagonally. It can move this way. It can move that way. It can move that way. So if there's a helicopter, it feels and sounds like a helicopter is flying above you. If there's a bullet that gets shot, it feels and sounds like the bullet is traveling across the room. And because of that, the sound feels like it doesn't feel like you're listening to a movie. It feels like that sound is natural, and in the room, it's crazy. Yeah. So I'm pumped. I'm seeing it Dolby. Obviously, I have tickets for Thursday and Friday. So I'm going to both. I can't wait. Thunderbolts. And I think, listen, Thunderbolts expectations, I think that it's fair to have high expectations for this movie. I really do. I think that Marvel made a decision by doing their share event for Avengers Doomsday. And part of that decision was telling us that the cast for Thunderbolts is largely going to be in Avengers Doomsday. And they haven't really done a lot of setup for the upcoming Avengers cycle, meaning Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So everyone, I think, is fair. I think it's fair for everyone to expect that, number one, this movie is going to be amazing because of all the, hype that from the people who have seen the fan screenings, the press screenings. No one has really said that I've seen has said that they didn't like the movie. I've seen some people say it was good, not as great as I hoped, but most people seem to be really happy with it, actually. And I think that it's going to have I think it's going to be a great movie in its own merit. And I also think it's going to be a great movie to set up the Avengers Doomsday. And I'm really excited about it.
I agree, bro. I agree. And so it's funny, bro, because when this project was first announced, I didn't really care about it. It's being real with you. I was like, oh, great.
Me too.
Like, it's random TV people, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just because I come from, and you come from this too, where like the TV people usually don't make it to the movie. So I was kind of like, yeah, this is a little shaky for me. Like, the only one that's really proven the movie is maybe like Yelena, but Florence Pugh is like a generational talent. So it's like, what about everybody else? And Ghost in them too. So Bucky too, but like when it was first announced, like I was more so looking at Ghost in them. I'm like, oh god, like what are we doing here? Like what is happening? Like, you want me to care about Ghost and Task and
people are still trying to hype up Ghost, and I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah. Well, I saw this funny scene where John Walker just punches the crap out of Ghost. I'm like, yes, someone that understands that Ghost is useless. But I didn't care about it, but the more and more that you and I covered it, and the more that we saw content about it, it has been something that I've really grown to like, and I'm really hyped for this movie. I also am more hyped because I really don't know much about what's going on. Like, I do understand like the premise of something is going down, but it isn't like with Brave New World, you and I walked into that movie knowing like a lot of it, like we knew a lot of what was happening, and I haven't really seen a lot of plot leaks. Obviously I got post-credit leaked, which is fine. But when it comes to the actual plot, bro, I haven't really seen much about it. And that's what's made me more excited. Obviously, I'm most excited for U.S. Agent. He's the guy that I'm excited to see the most. Mostly because just
I wouldn't say
Wyatt,
most, definitely at the top of my list.
Yeah, because Wyatt is just an amazing actor. Like, he is legit. And shout out to his pops too, who is also a legend. He played Ego. But and I also am interested in Bucky. So, and I wasn't until they dropped a scene of when they were meeting in the in where yeah.
I saw this and they said you didn't really last as a congressman.
Yeah. That's what. And so but what was also funny is I think she called U.S. Agent like a junior, I think she called him a JV Captain America. And John Walker went to pull out his gun.
Oh, that's great.
Bro, I was crying. I was like, yo, that's so funny. But I am interested to see what happened with Bucky, because I did see in the beginning of or in one of the trailers, like in one of the first trailers, we saw Bucky in his congressman outfit in like a courthouse. So I'm wondering to see like what happened, because and seeing that makes me feel like there's some, I'm not saying like a 10-year time jump, but I can see like a 1-year time jump from Bucky maybe losing his like political like aura that he has. So I am really interested in that. So yeah, Thunderbolts has me sold. I am ready to see it. And the post-credit scenes. We won't talk about them now. We'll wait till the next week. But it's insane.
You know, I love covering this stuff. And I love doing this podcast with you. But I have been thinking about, like, when I wasn't doing this, you know, I didn't follow all the leaks and the rumors. And I think that Marvel knows what's going on. And they, you know, obviously pay attention to things. I'm kind of glad that we don't really know everything that's going to happen in this movie. It's kind of annoying that is starting to become the standard. And I hope that this isn't a fluke. And I hope that Marvel is being more intentional about keeping things under wraps. Granted, you know, I say that, and they also decided to do the fan events, and they knew that the whole movie was going to leak to some people. And I'm sure that there are, you know, plot descriptions of everything that happened in the movie on Reddit and things like that. But I still want to be able to see the movie, enjoy it, and you know, get excited and surprised for things. You know, that's one of my issues with a lot of the trailers. Granted, I think sometimes there needs to be a middle ground, like with Superman. Like, you know, there's literally no dialogue in any of the trailers. Like, that's crazy. You know, but yeah, is what it is. I'm pumped for Thunderbolts. I think it's really cool that a movie that doesn't really have any A-list superheroes is getting this kind of hype in Marvel, because for the multiversal saga, they have pushed so many lame characters that like people were trying to like fake hype each other over, and it was just so corny. But this one feels like this one just feels different.
100%, bro. And it's funny, bro, because I literally was thinking about that the other day. I rewatched the Superman trailer on my 65-inch, and I was like, man, this dude hasn't talked once. Like, it just, like, it doesn't make me scared, but it's like, why are you avoiding dialogue? Like, we should be able to hear him talk. And it's mostly because I do feel like in a lot of this is off topic, but in a lot of Superman like iterations, they sometimes paint him to be like an idiot. So like, I'm just like, I hope that, you know, they don't paint him to be that way. But anyways. Yeah.
Two things on that. I do think that what was I going to say is with the dialogue, I think there's a couple things. Like, they had to release things early for Superman because how important it is to them. Yeah. But there is part of it where you don't want to burst your bubble of hype too early. You have to save some things for right before you release the movie. So I do think we're going to get a trailer with more dialogue, and we're going to understand the plot within under 30 days of release. That's one thing. But I do think that the choice and the logic behind the choice of the underwear over pants was stupid. Like, I mean, David Cornsweet literally said, oh, he should wear underwear over his pants so children aren't afraid of him. Like, oh, so you make him look like a clown so kids aren't afraid of him? That's silly. That's silly. It makes him look stupid. And we need people to take Superman seriously.
Yeah. Now, this is going to make you very happy. So, when I was at Second and Charles on Saturday, they had a whole Superman section, and they took all the comics that James Gunn put for his read, and they put them. So look what I got. So I ended up buying the All-Star Superman book. Just
nice.
they had it there. It was only it was only $9, and it's like the whole it's like the whole
that's a crazy deal for a graphic novel.
Yeah, and what I thought was cool was they had this table and it said everything leading up to this point, and they basically took like a bunch of like issues that was like Superman's like origin, and it led up to the All-Star Superman and the other comics that James got. So it makes me happy to see that like it isn't just like from the digital standpoint, but like, and there were a few people over there too that were looking at the comics. Like, so I think it's dope that, and I'm not sure if James Gunn have told these stores to do that or not, but I think that is a very creative way to sell your movie to fans. You know what I mean? To have like, hey, like if you want to know more about Superman, here's a whole entire table just dedicated to it. So I thought that was like super awesome.
You know, it's fun. My local shop has told me that these movies rarely make act on comic sales. You'd think they would. You'd think like a movie's coming out, more people get interested in the comics. Maybe that's changing though. I don't know. I got to ask them again because that was a while ago, but it wasn't that long. It was within the past year or so. He told me that. But, you know, I did read that. So the current Fantastic Four run, which is great, but it's very episodic. So like most of it is self-contained stories where there's a climax and conclusion to that story in the same issue. It's not like, you know, it's a long run, but it's not like, you know, there's a 6-issue story arc. Yeah. And they are resetting it, but keeping the same writer on. So like this week, Fantastic Four 31 is coming out, but in July, when Fantastic Four First Steps releases, they are rebooting the run to issue number 1. And there's a story about, I don't remember the details about it, but I know that Reed is looking for something called the Forever Stone. And because of that story, and like it sounds like it's going to be some really cool new lore to the Marvel Universe, it does seem like it's going to be less episodic. But, you know, Fantastic Four comics have struggled in the past. Like after Secret Wars, you know, they didn't really do Fantastic Four again until like 2018. And then, you know, so we'll see. Hopefully it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's funny, bro, because a couple of weeks ago I was at second in a Charles Giddens, and I was talking to one of the guys there. And I asked him like which Fantastic Four comic did he read first, and he said he found Wade's first. You know, Wade was his intro, and then he read Hickman, and then he got into the like Avengers. But like it's and you know, since I'm kind of new, like getting deep into comics, it's kind of interesting to hear like when people get into different versions, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So it's very interesting.
I do think fans a lot of the time are really overly harsh on things just because they think it's like the cool thing to do. Yeah. And I was talking about it with the guy that runs the shop that I go to, and he was like, when the Hickman Fantastic Four stuff was coming out, fans hated it. They were like, what? I don't get what he's trying to do. Yeah. And it wasn't until the whole run ended when people could just like run through it and people were like, oh, I get it now, you know. And like, because I told them, I was like, you know, I think people were too harsh on Captain America 4. And I don't think Captain America 4 is the greatest Marvel movie ever, but I think it was like, I think that there's a lot of times that it seems to be a consensus opinion. I think people just jump in the bandwagon because they're so afraid to be different. And I think it's a really big problem. I think that happened with the Flash movie. I think it happens with Amazing Spider-Man comics. I think it happens with so many things in like our weird corner of like superhero entertainment.
Yeah. I saw you post about I think it was the Joe Kelly Tasm comics, and you were saying like hot take, they're really good. And so I was like,
I don't know if I said they're real. I don't know. I said,
no, I think you said like it's good so far.
Good so far.
Like that. I forget
good so far is what I wrote.
Yeah,
And
but like, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, and by the Mark Waid Fantastic Four is considered like the modern version of in terms of writing of Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four.
So that's why probably more people like Waid's more. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Fantastic Four, like Hickman, is more that big idea, lore heavy, like stuff, and then the Mark Waid is like people just say it's like exactly what Stan Lee would have written if he was writing to modern standards in terms of like the actual writing.
Cool. Do you agree with that statement?
Definitely. I mean, you'd have to have read both to understand it, but yeah, and I have, so yeah.
Bet. All right, bet. Let's do some chats here. Derp, what's up, baby? Good evening, homie. Hope you're doing well, man. My expectations for Thunderbolts. I'm hoping it's a good movie, but even if it's good, it's not going to bring Marvel back like a lot of shill YouTubers are saying. Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not looking at this show to bring it back. I want a good movie that is leading on to the next thing, and that's what it seems like it's doing. So, and that's all we need right now. We need good movies. Sentry is the only thing about the movie that interests me. Why? It's funny. It's funny, bro. We don't even bring up like Sentry doesn't even cross my mind when I get excited about this film. That's the funny part, and it's crazy.
Like I always say, I think people saw a picture of Sentry and thought he looked cool, and now there's like 4 people on the internet that have made it their entire personality.
Oh yeah. The only true Sentry fan I know is Comics Explained, and he even calls out that Sentry is a one-trick guy. Like everybody knows he's a one-trick pony, bro. In your words. Sentry, Bucky, and U.S. Agent for me. Yelena, Red Guardian, and female Taskmaster. I couldn't care less. Trunks work depending on how the suit is and how the trunks is shaped. Personally, they should have just colored it in to make it look like he's wearing trunks. And I've said this 1,000 times, bro. And I'm glad that we are on the same page. They shouldn't have done actual trunks. Just make it one suit and just color it. It's way easier than actually trying to add, a trunk onto it. So, but in the shot that they dropped today on USA, I think it's USA Today.com. The suit looked fire. It was smooth. It was smooth. I think I have it on here, so we'll show it in the end. People were way too harsh on Captain America 4, The Flash, Red Hawk, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds. I hated TASM 2. I hated that movie.
I like TASM. I actually rewatched it recently. I think TASM. My biggest issue with TASM 2 is that number one, I can't stand Electro. I think Electro is like he's on my shit villain list.
Yeah,
and granted, he's not near as high as Chameleon or Mr. Freeze, but he's definitely an annoying villain. And I think they should have let Harry be the main villain. And like, it was stupid because I almost think they chose Electro because of the visuals. And, with Harry, like, it would have made so much more sense, at least because it was Norman who killed Gwen in the comics, the iconic scene on the bridge, in the night Gwen Stacy died. I don't know. And I don't know, that story between Peter and Harry and meeting again, like, that was so good. It was so relatable. That was awesome. I think the TASM 2 is way overrated. I always did. I liked it since the moment I saw it.
Really? Yeah, man. I just can't. And for me, the I think the action is dope. Like, and I think that the way that the visuals were, we have not seen anything like that before at that time. And I still think that movie, from a visual standpoint, still holds up over a lot of movies today. Whatever Webb did, he cooked. And I wish he could come back to do some of the, like, Webb reminds me of Zach in so many ways, as in like the way he just handles
the visuals.
Like, visuals is just different. But the Gwen stuff, see, like, and
they should use that Spider-Man theme song. I know I like the MCU one because it's like we know that Spider-Man is the shit and it's coming.
Yeah.
But that Hans Zimmer Chasm score when they open the movie and he's like coming down, that is so hard.
Yeah. So I actually would love a new score only because the Spider-Man score in MCU seems so high school to me. You know what I mean? And I would love for, since Spider-Man's coming into like his new like era, I would like a newer score. Like that dun, 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 dun. I don't know, it just feels a little childish to me.
I don't think they could change it. I think they got to keep it because it's so recognizable, and
True.
if you have the heritage, you got to take advantage of it. You know, but I'll say No Way Home, the Dolby Atmos in it, especially like that end scene when they're all three of them are fighting at the Empire State Building, bro, it's insane. Yeah, it's one of the best Atmos. And TASM 2, when it came out, it was one of the first superhero movies that they went all in on Atmos. So it's like, it's what they call a reference Atmos track. So like when that movie came out, they made the Atmos to such a high quality because they wanted to use that movie to demo to people how great the Atmos technology was.
Yeah. I will say that is one of the best third acts of a movie I've seen in like ever.
Bro, I was just thinking that it really is the best third act, probably maybe it might be the best third act in all of the MCU.
Bro, when Tom Holland's Peter like turned around and webbed them both, they caught his web. I was like, oh,
that was
they're
crazy.
cooking. They're cooking right now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, they playing with us right now, bro. They just trying to cook like a man. And then landed one by one. I was like, bro, that's still, and like people don't talk about that, is still one of the great, like, it was a dream to think that you'll get Andrew, Toby, and Tom Holland on the same screen. That is still insane I'm watching that. I am watching that after this. It is insane to think that movie exists, bro.
I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I would love to watch it tonight. I can't do movies during the week. It always but I am behind on The Last of Us, so I'm gonna watch the new episode.
Good. Yeah. Bets. All right, let's see. Even if this film doesn't have amazing reviews, people will still go see this film at theaters.
It's not a film, Kevin. It's a file. It's not shot on film. It is a file. Okay. You don't sound smart or like artsy when you say film.
Yo, funny story, guys. So I was at church on Sunday, and it's so embarrassing. So I had a meeting, but I was editing or whatever. So I had our YouTube up, and I was trying to, and maybe I was clipping out the file stuff or whatever. And so like, if you guys don't know, sometimes when you hook up your laptop to like a cord, it'll instantly play whatever's on your screen. So the YouTube video came up, and then the whole, like, your whole file thing just started and they were just like, what's a file? What's a file? And then I was like, all right, we'll just play the whole 5 minutes. And then I played the video, and they were like, that's actually really funny. And then we just got into a whole funny convo about how people love to say like words to sound smart, but they actually sound like idiotic. It was a hilarious conversation.
My favorite thing about this whole like word change that I'm doing is the fact that when I say, oh yeah, I'm going to see the new file, it sounds stupid, but when you think about it, it's smart. Like, it sounds so dumb, but it's actually smart.
Oh yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Carnage is such an overhyped Spider-Man.
Yes. But Carnage is still nowhere as bad as Chameleon. Chameleon is a fucking loser.
Superherocuts. Are there people on YouTube saying that James Gunn is working with monkeys for writing the Superman movie? Who said that? I've never seen that. Which is honestly shocking, because they've tried to sabotage James Gunn in every way. I'm shocked that they haven't said that yet. All right.
By the way, I want to say there's a lot of people on the internet who are maybe scoopers, or their content is solely on Marvel. And especially for the people who can't do DC for whatever reason, I'm starting to notice that there's a lot of those people who seem to are like kind of shitting on James Gunn and Superman. So there's not just the Snyder cult bias. There's the business model bias as well.
100%. And that's why, guys, like, man, I'm not trying to be like cocky, but that's why I think we're one of the best in the game, because we love them all. You know what I mean? And we equally
and we keep it 100. And like too many people on the internet just don't.
100%, bro. So, all right. Now, next thing here, y'all, let's talk about some Avengers Doomsday. So we get a first look behind the scenes photo at the chair, and it says Victor Von Doom. So Avengers Doomsday has already started filming. Feige told the trades that, which is awesome. As you see on the screen, we get a chair of Victor Von Doom. Now, now I wanted you to kind of share what you told me about the photo itself, because you saw something, you saw a little bit more. So I would want to, I would love for you to talk about that.
The photo looks like it was taken in the X Mansion. I mean, that looks like the halls of the X Mansion, that wood trim. So it seems to be that they are shooting scenes of Victor Von Doom at the Fox X Mansion, which would be really cool. You know, I sent this to Stevie, and Stevie's like, Doom's definitely going to be taking him out, which is quite possible. It's quite possible. Maybe that's what they do to build up Dr. Doom. But I'm starting to think that I don't know, are the X-Men going to get a quick cameo and going to be killed? And that seems to be the Marvel retro cameo formula for the most part. You know, they bring in some retro cameos and they get killed. Other than Spider-Man No Way Home, all of them that we've seen, which is Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, they all got killed at the Baxter Building. And I know someone was like, you know, the Illuminati HQ. Okay, guys. And then, you know, what was the other one? There was Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, they all got wiped out in the void, or I don't know if they even got wiped out, but we saw them for like 5 minutes, and they were really just bait for the, you know, Cassandra Nova's people. So I don't know. I think that this movie is a little more special. It might be more different. I don't want to say there's a course correct, because I don't believe in the course correct anymore. I think that's a complete myth. But, you know, who knows? We could potentially see maybe the Fox X-Men actually have a big role in Avengers Doomsday. Maybe it's not just a cameo. But I could also see Dr. Doom wipe them out really quick to kind of build up how big of a villain Dr. Doom and how powerful he is. And I do think Dr. Doom is going to be super OP, overpowered, because he is not a Fantastic Four villain in the MCU. He is an Avengers level threat, a 2-movie Avengers level threat that's taking on the multiverse. So naturally, he's going to have to be a bigger villain than Thanos was. And, you know, but, you know, that's kind of what they did with Wanda. When Wanda wiped out, you know, the Illuminati at the Baxter Building, that made Wanda seem much more powerful and a much, you know, more of a threat of a villain. And I wouldn't put it past Marvel to do something like that with the Fox X-Men and Dr. Doom.
Yeah. I don't know why, bro, but it does seem very weird to me, like weird in a good way, to see Dr. Doom interacting with the X-Men. It's like whenever I look at Doom, it just never crossed my mind, oh, like how's he gonna talk to Wolverine, you know? So I do wonder if Hugh Jackman will be playing Wolverine in this movie, or on this earth, or will someone else be Wolverine, or is there a Wolverine here at all? Because I do think that like Hugh, like if you're bringing back the OGs, I think Hugh has to be there. And I think that's needed. If he's not, it will be very interesting and very weird for me personally. I am also glad that obviously they're filming now. And I was kind of in like rabbit hole not so long ago, and I was looking up like just how long it takes to film, you know, and what is good and like what's good and what's bad for how long it takes to film a movie. And from what I looked at, it seems like Doomsday is a really good track. I also did not know, bro, that like before the actors are actually acting on set, they're already filming in these like green, I won't say green screen, but in these like VFX rooms. And they film all their fighting moves and they film a lot of their like action. So when they're going on set to tell like to do their dialogue and stuff, the VFX teams are already like, you know, editing their action scene and stuff. So it was a very, you know, interesting thing. So I am happy that like it does seem like, you know, they're on a good road and fans seem really excited about it. And I think the rollout, despite the chair stuff, I like that Feige is telling them we have started, you know, we are starting to film. I think he's taking a page out of James Gunn's book a little bit by, you know, telling the press what's, you know, going on to get fans excited. So I think it's dope, you know, and we might see a new era of Feige, maybe where he's more vocal with, you know, things that are going on and stuff.
Well, the one thing that I've heard that I really don't like, and this is not like James Gunn at all, is that the script isn't done. And if the script isn't done and they're kind of figuring it out on the fly, that does not sound like a good game plan at all.
Yeah, Mackie said last week that he read the script.
Someone was saying like today or yesterday that the script isn't done.
Hold on, let me I have it on my thing. 1 second. I'll pull it up. Anthony Mackie, pull it up. Yeah, because I remember I posted last week. Hold on. Yeah, so here it is. Anthony Mackie confirms he has read the script for Doomsday. He said we are supposed to go out this week and we'll be out there doing it. Everyone's excited. I feel with the script and having the Russos back is going to be great.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean he read a completed script. And the rumor, it actually comes from My Time to Shine. She said that the script isn't completed yet.
Oh, well then we'll just have to see what happens. But Mackie said that he read a script. So
yeah, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean he read a completed script. If the script isn't completed, what do you think of that?
That's terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, now this is the weird thing though, because Downey talked about it on Rogan about how they're kind of like the way they film is different, you know, and Downey said that like that the way Downey films, he doesn't necessarily use scripts, that like they give him the main idea in kind of the rules, and then they kind of go like scene by scene. So I'm not so like, and I'll have to do research on it, but like, is that how they filmed Endgame, where certain people had lines, but then RDJ and Chris Evans didn't? Like, I don't necessarily know how that works.
I wouldn't trust other actors to do that the way RDJ does. And I think it might be a little different, him doing that for Iron Man versus doing it for Doctor Doom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going off of what Mackie said, where Mackie said he read a script, and then Florence also said that she's going out to start stuff. So in good faith, I hope that there's a script done. If not, there's a bad thing. And then I saw someone else, not going to say the name, but they said that they heard that the script's been done since like February. So there's a lot of people going around saying stuff. So, but we'll just have to see, man. But I hope it's done. And like James Gunn saying that, I hope that sets a precedent for every studio, that you do not take a film until the script is done. Like, that should be rudimentary right there. Common sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because I mean, and like I rewatched and John Campea, I blame you, because ever since you said this, now whenever I watch it, the dialogue in Revenge of the Sith, some of the Anakin and Padme stuff is kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like not the movie itself, but some of the actual dialogue. I was like, wow.
Yeah. I still think it's the best Star Wars movie. I know he hates it, but I think it's the best Star Wars movie. I think it's the best Star Wars movie, and I don't even think it's up for debate. I think it's better than all the originals. I think it's better than all the other prequels, 100%. And I think it's better than the sequels. You know, I also think they need to remake the Star Wars movies. I think that they're so focused on, we need to do this, and they won't let go of the Skywalkers. If you're gonna use the Skywalkers, remake the originals. Do it to like modern standards. people will lose their mind. You
Mhm.
will make $1 billion every movie.
Nice.
It's oh my god.
You're preaching right now, brother.
You want to talk about poor IP management? Star Wars.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Exactly. And this is, and guys, like, look, man, hire Jerry, bro. He'll fix you guys, man.
Yeah. I'll get you into shape real quick.
Yeah. It isn't rocket science, guys. It ain't
Yeah.
rocket science, bro. All right, let's see what some of these comments saying here. People will go see DC Superman at theaters. Facts, bro. I really do. I know a lot of people that are going. They are filming Doomsday and Secret Wars back to back in London. These films will make $2 billion. Woo! It's very possible, bro. Marvel has a sauce. Excuse me. If Doom kills off the Fox Wolverine in X-Men, I'm going to start laughing because now Hugh Jackman and the Fox X-Men actor fanboys are forced to accept a rebooted Wolverine. Whoa. So, Hungry, are you saying that people think that like these are going to be the X-Men after Secret Wars? That's a very interesting take. If people do think that Bucky better not lose his aura. I hope not.
Nah, Bucky has never not had his aura, bro. Bucky will be intact.
100%. Whoever Doom kills, they have to stay dead. Don't want to see a Loki situation where Thanos killed off Loki only to use shenanigans to bring another Loki. Hence why I wasn't the biggest fan of the Loki show.
I do agree with you, but I also think that they are going to end Doomsday on a massive cliffhanger. I think that they are going to stick to that formula. And that's why I really like the term Avengers cycle, because they could have done an Avengers movie before Doomsday, but they learned from Infinity War and Endgame that if you connect to Avengers movies and you drop them consecutive years and you do it on a cliffhanger, it's going to be box office billions. You're going to have a cultural moment and people won't shut up about it for the next 10 years.
So I was talking to my pops about Sam because my dad's very on and off Sam. So some days he likes Sam, some days he doesn't, but it's because Winter Soldier is his favorite movie, so he watches that like over and over. So the one thing that he said he wished that Falcon and Winter Soldier was Captain America 4. Like he said he wishes that was a movie, and he wished that Captain America 5 had an Avengers team. And he was saying that he said that he would have liked to where if you had like a Captain America, Yelena, could have maybe had like Bucky and maybe Spider-Man, where they could establish an actual Earth team. And because he was like, that would have had me more excited going into like, just the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom stuff. And I was like, that is not a bad take.
Yeah. They are saying, by the way, that he is going to be leading the Avengers in Avengers Doomsday, which I'm happy with. I think that there's going to be a couple complaints about this. I think that there's going to be two main complaints, and I think one of them is fair, and I think the other one is fair, and the second one isn't. But the problem is that the first one is that people are going to say Captain America: Brave New World was a terrible movie, therefore he shouldn't be leading the Avengers. That's number one. The problem with both of these is that number two is going to be people that are racist, and that a lot of them are going to just say, oh, well, Captain America: Brave New World was bad, therefore he shouldn't lead the Avengers. And they're going to blame, a lot of them are going to try to blame the movie not working because the character didn't work. And the problem is that a lot of the racism is going to be laundered into the first one. For example, meaning there are going to be people who are racist who are just going to be like, not my Captain America. And then there's going to be people who are racist who aren't going to be honest about their racism. And they're going to just say, oh, well, Captain America 4 was a bad movie. He's not a good character. He shouldn't be leading the Avengers. But really, they're coming from an unfair place of racism. So here's the thing. Number one, whether you like the movie or not, I don't think it's like, I think you got to be out of your mind to try to make the argument that Sam isn't a good character. I think it's just like, there are good characters. Nobody says like, I don't like Batman. No one says I don't like Spider-Man. I think Sam is a great character. And I just, if you're a fan of superheroes, I kind of find it hard to believe that you don't like the character of Sam Wilson. And I think, by the way, I think he's a cool character to lead the Avengers too, especially when you consider the roster. Like, he's the guy. The other thing is like, you know, he is a pretty big character in the current Avengers run, and I'm loving that Avengers run. And he's a great character in there too. So I'm happy. I kind of see him as the leader of the Avengers now. They got they actually made Captain Marvel the leader of the team, but I mean, I kind of see him more as the leader of the team than her. Maybe they did that intentionally by laundering it in. I don't really know. But I think he's a good character, and I'm pumped to see him lead the Avengers. And I just rewatched Captain America Brave New World, and I think that's a good movie. Like, I think that a lot of people were unfair to that movie, and as time goes on, I think people will realize it was a good movie.
The part that people forget, right? Like, when it came to the Avengers and their leadership, like the funniest scene, one of the funniest scenes I love is when it's in Avengers Age of Ultron when they go to Sokovia the first time. One of the best intro scenes to a Marvel film. But by the way, just the combos, oh my gosh, the shield to hammer combo. Anyways, but when they land,
wait, which movie are you talking about?
Age of Ultron.
Okay, yeah.
The funniest thing is when Maria Hill, she comes on their jet and she calls Captain America boss, and Stark was like, "Yeah, he's the boss. I just pay for everything." Like, you know, like that was probably the only time that Stark nodded. You know, and in Avengers 1 where he was like, "What's the plan, Cap?" Right, and then, you know, and Cap tells him what they're going to do. You know, a lot of people think that like Cap's version of leading isn't like, you know, like Michael Jordan, where he has to put his arm around the whole team. You know, like in all the Avengers film, everyone has it's like almost everyone has played their part. Like even in Age of Ultron, in the second half of that film, Hawkeye had to step up and be the actual leader, right? Like he had to take them back to his home, and you know, so you guys have to understand that like leading isn't. I feel like people think of leading as like he's going to be like holding Spider-Man's hand through every single detail. I don't think that's it. But if you think about what Sam is credible for, Sam served, okay? So he knows how to plan stuff. He worked with Steve Rogers for a really long time. You know what I mean? So I think Sam is probably the most qualified to plan how to attack something or how to like defeat something. I mean, he trained under Steve, so it would make sense for him to be the one that comes up with the tactical plan, you know. And obviously, like hopefully you'll have like a Lena and, you know, other people to contribute to that. But like it makes sense for Sam to be the guy when you look at the history that Sam has had. He studied under the greatest planner that we've seen in Marvel.
Yeah,
like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And like he's just like his character is just like a natural leader.
100%. I mean, and by the way, he led Falcon well too. I really loved how he was like the big bro to that Falcon guy. I thought it was awesome. All right. Next topic here. Now let's talk about some Fantastic Four first steps. So obviously they are releasing a lot about Fantastic Four because that movie's coming out in July, a really big movie. So it has been confirmed that for the actual time frame of the Fantastic Four, this movie is 4 years later after they've gotten their powers. Yes, 4. Okay, we're gonna laugh about it, whatever. But I did want you to explain. Well, I kind of want to hear your point of view. Do you like the fact that we are going 4 years into the Fantastic Four, you know, being heroes, or did you want to see the origin again? Like, do you like the idea that we're kind of coming into when they're like in their groove?
Yeah, listen, I think that they basically discussed the origin like enough in the trailer, and I'm sure that portion will have greater context in the movie, but it doesn't need much greater context. I think that they are going to say they went to space, they were affected by the cosmic rays, they got their powers. Boom, done. And now you have the origin without making it an origin movie. Fans don't want to see an origin movie. Origin movies have kind of seen their heyday. I think that there's a way to do a movie and, you know, kind of have the characters coming into their own a little bit still, but not through the origin. And by the way, it's not so different from what Matt Reeves did with the Batman. he was 2 years into his tenure as the Batman, and you still saw him in like an earlier phase of his development as Batman, but they didn't need to focus on the origin. And I think that this is the right move. They have tried to do the Fantastic Four origin movie twice, and both times it hasn't worked. So they got to do something different. And they didn't do an origin movie for Spider-Man. Why do it for the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And as you said, right, there's obviously going to be some type of flashbacks. We saw that in the freaking trailer, which I actually like that they put the origin in that, because I really don't want to spend a lot of time there in the movie. I also think that it is the best time to see heroes when they are like comfortable, and we are getting that with Superman as well, because like James Gunn said, he kind of has it figured out. And one of the reasons why Winter Soldier is one of the best MCU solo films is because Cap is comfortable in the world he's in. Like he knows what he has to do. He's kind of getting his groove. Like he has a little neighbor that he's trying to talk to. I mean, like he has a little world is all done. And I do think that it is smart, because I think, and this is my take, I think that they're trying to make the Fantastic Four kind of feel like a sequel. Because I was rewatching Black Panther 1. And when you watch Civil War and you go into Black Panther 1, it doesn't necessarily, for me, it doesn't necessarily feel like, and it's because you see T'Challa so much in Civil War that it doesn't feel like an origin film, or it doesn't feel like a first movie, because it's kind of carrying, into, this next film. And I feel like when you have characters in a groove, fans are able to just attach a little bit more. And I do think that when it comes to the trilogy space, a lot of the times the sequels are the best ones in the film. Dark Knight, Winter Soldier, we can just go down the road. So I do feel like with Fantastic Four, it's like, like in my rewatch leading up to this, I am going to watch the 2005 Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? And that's going to kind of be my origin. So I do like how they're kind of going with that style.
Yeah. I love the Fantastic Four. They're one of my favorite characters. The origin is it's pretty simple. You don't need the origin, and I think that it's more important for fans to love the Fantastic Four from this movie, and it seems like it's going to do a good job of that. And obviously, it's going to have to set them up for the upcoming Avengers cycle. But what I will say is, I don't know if I'm going to rewatch the older ones. I think I rewatched Silver Surfer when I was on vacation recently, but I did reread Fantastic Four Life Story. Like that to me was the move. But I do think that it's going to establish these characters in a way that fans are going to fall in love with. And I think it's going to be helpful, the fact that they are in this world where they're looked at as almost godlike by the people in that universe. It's interesting because in the past couple of weeks, I've noticed a lot of people, not a lot, but some try to say, oh, the Fantastic Four are boring. People don't like the Fantastic Four. I think that is BS. I feel the same way about that. How Superman, diehards feel when people try to say Superman is boring. It's like, okay, you have no idea what you're talking about, or you don't really read comics. I could understand fans if you don't read comics and you don't really have a good impression of the Fantastic Four because all you've seen is the movies. I could understand that. But if you do read the comics, or you claim to read the comics, and you don't like the Fantastic Four, I'm probably just not going to believe that you read comics, because Fantastic Four, first of all, most of the Marvel Universe was born from the original Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four comics. And the Fantastic Four comics have been some of the best comics of all time. Having said that, there have been times where the Fantastic Four comics have struggled in sales. But that's another story. The comics industry as a whole is suffering in sales. And I don't think that is necessarily, I don't think that corresponds to the quality of the character.
Yeah. The wild thing is, bro, I really do think that the Fantastic Four, if they were treated right in 2005 and before, they could be one of the biggest IPs, like ever. Like when it comes to Marvel, and like I always, I always viewed the Fantastic Four as like a more mature fan base. And it's just because it's just the whole scientist vibe, like, and like, the first thing that my dad said when he saw the trailer, he said, Reed has a really nice suit, and like, like for someone to say that, it's like, like they're not also trying to appeal to us, but they're also trying to appeal, to the older folk. And that's why I kind of like the 60s style. But like, I really think that, the Fantastic Four could have been like, and I still think that they can be a really successful IP.
I don't know if I agree with that they are targeting like an older, more mature folk. I think the name and the family aspect make it very kid friendly, and it makes me think it's an all ages thing, and probably was originally targeted for kids when it first came out.
Yeah.
But and the 60s thing, I think children will enjoy it and appreciate it, even if they don't necessarily understand the inspiration and the time references. I think they're going to be able to look at it and be like, it looks different and I like it. I think they'll be able to get that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So because I really do feel like, because like with Thunderbolts, I feel like it's more just like, we're trying to get people that love action, that love spy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like they're trying to that crowd. And with F4, it's like that retro. You know what I mean? And I love that vibe, bro. So dope.
I think supposedly Thunderbolts is like the darkest MCU movie of any. And it looks the color grading looks darker, and I think that could be cool. And I think Sentry will be cool in this movie. Like for a darker MCU movie, a Sentry storyline could be cool. Now, having said that, Sentry's a one-trick pony. I think he is being overrated by a lot of people who don't read enough comics to understand that Sentry is a one-trick pony. If you only read a couple comics and you heard about Sentry and you read one Sentry run and you don't really have a lot of context to compare it and like understand things, it might be easy to think Sentry is like Superman because he kind of looks like him in yellow and blue, but whatever.
Yeah. And I do think that with him being in Doomsday, they're definitely going to add some more to this character. Like, I definitely think they added some more pizzazz, if that makes sense. Like there's like I do think Kevin Feige and his team, they added more to him because there's no way, knowing his story, that you can bring that into a movie like Doomsday without adding more stuff to him as a character.
Yeah, I can see that.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Wait, where we at? Okay. Marvel Studios is going to play it safe with Doomsday and Secret Wars. People easily get offended about everything. They don't want to turn off family audience with certain messages. But Iron Man was more established, which is why RDJ was. Oh, this is when I was talking about our DJ. Yeah, so there needs to be a script. I don't know, bro. Like with the way that RDJ worked, he said like it's different. It's different because he said like he got Iron Man so quickly, and Doom is a deeper character than Stark, but like when you're talented, bro, certain people just have a knack for landing characters, and RDJ always lands his characters. So, it really depends on the person, right? You know what I mean? Because like, look, right?
I do agree. This is what I was trying to say earlier. I agree with him. I think that Iron Man was more established. I doubt RDJ was ad-libbing most of the first Iron Man movie and the earlier stuff. I think when he came to know the character better, he probably did more of it. And because this is his first time playing Doctor Doom in such a big, important movie, I see this being more scripted than edited. I'm sure he'll probably throw in a couple lines here and there of his own, and they'll probably, take that into the final cut. But I definitely think that it's too there's too many characters and it's too big of a movie to let RDJ ad-lib the thing as his first time playing this character.
Yeah. One other thing, yo, RDJ can voice act too. Like he can do like different not languages, but he can change his accent. He's talented, bro.
Where have you seen him done that?
So there's a movie called Dr. Doolittle. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie Murphy played Dr. Doolittle when I was a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So RDJ now his movie is a little more like Renaissance type. But he has a whole different accent. Like it's crazy. It's just crazy how different he sounds. Like you wouldn't even think it's him. You're like, that sounds very. It doesn't sound like RDJ. So, but yeah, I love that movie. If Fantastic Four first steps the 700 to 800 million at the box office, Marvel should be happy with that. The Fantastic Four franchise, bro, if they do 7 to 800 million, that will be crazy. That will be actually insane. By the way, for the Lantern show, what do you think the mysterious threat that Hal and John discovers could be? I heard a theory. I'm not saying that I think it's true, but I heard a theory that people think that it's the murder of Guy Gardner. A lot of people think that Guy Gardner is going to die early off, and they think that's what leads them to this town. I'm not saying I agree, but that's what I heard. Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa. Facts. Do Fantastic Four. What? This type of dumb stuff. This is the type of dumb stuff Marvel will do with T'Challa. Multiverse time travel to age up to child. His skill, intellect, and hate for Namor will be because of Shuri calling it right. Oh, that would be so bad, bro. That would be so bad. These people who say those things, pun intended. That was funny. Don't read comics. I am one of them. I find the F4 boring, but yeah, I never read the F4 comics. And look, bro, and this is the thing. We don't down people that don't read comics. What annoys me and what annoys Jerry is when people don't read the source, but they go yapping like they know everything about the actual source. Like
come up with crazy theories, and then or what also bothers me is the people who act like they know everything and they make it look like they read comics, and they might read some here and there, but then they don't know that what the Baxter Building is, and they try to talk. It's like, bro, relax.
Yeah, bro. The Fantastic Four are what Superman is to DC.
By the way, Kevin, drop your Instagram. I want to follow you.
Bet. I feel like Marvel missed the opportunity to do Fantastic Four. They should have started Phase 4.
You drop your Instagrams. I'll follow all of you.
Facts. They should have started Phase 4 with the Fantastic Four. Man, you could have easily marketed bro. Yes, bro. It was literally a layup. Literally a layup, bro. Literally a layup. I like Sentry for when they did the whole like meta thing where we all forgot about him, and he was the original member of the Golden Age of Marvel. Ooh. But he is kind of a knockoff Superman with a temporary mental health issues. Yeah, that is Sentry, brother.
Yeah.
What if one of the plot points in Thunderbolts is that he tries to rewrite reality to where he was a founding member of the Avengers? That would be insane.
Don't think that's what they're doing, but that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy. RDJ did play Sherlock Holmes. Yes, that's another. That was a great movie. Both of them are great.
Yeah, those are so good.
Parallax or The Center.
Parallax is sick.
Rewatch Fantastic Four 2015. Dude, I can't, dude. I can't. I can't, brother. So I can watch the 2005. I can't watch the 2015, bro. I can't, bro. Yeah, I can't. All right. Now, next here, we're going to talk about Zendaya. So as Spider-Man 4 is kind of shaping out, and there's a lot of news coming out about it and rumors, it is reported that Zendaya's MJ will have a minor role in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, bro, I want to ask you, do you like MJ taking a lesser role in Spider-Man 4?
I think it's fine. You know, the more I think about it, like MJ was in the Brand New Day comic, and to remind you or to get you up to speed if you're not aware of what happened in the comics, in the storyline that just came before Brand New Day, Peter makes a deal with Mephisto, basically the devil in Marvel Comics, to save Aunt May, who is dying, and he trades in his relationship and marriage to MJ. It's a little different because like MJ kind of remembers, like it's not as black and white as it is in the MCU. So maybe that might change things in terms of how like she will appear and if she's going to ever talk to Peter or Spider-Man, but I don't mind her having a minor role in the movie. I also think it's going to help sell tickets, which is a good thing. But I personally, I want to see more of what Peter is going to be doing for his future rather than his past. But it's a big deal that, he severed ties with MJ and Ned. So I'm not surprised that she's going to be in the movie, and I definitely don't have a problem with it.
Fair take. And I like it too, bro, because first it gives me signs that she will return for Spider-Man 5, and it low-key makes it feel like a comic book, kind of where like characters kind of pop in and out, for like what can I use for example? Oh, JMS, duh. Like kind of like when you read JMS, like you might not see Aunt May for like a few issues.
Talking about Amazing Spider-Man by
I'm sorry.
J. Michael Straczynski.
But like there's points where like you'll see certain characters, but you're like I'm not gonna see them this run. Like I'm just not, But that they're still there. So I kind of like that. I like that feel.
She's in the Brand New Day comic run. So and she's not just like, she actually has more than a minor role in that run, in some arcs of that run. It's a pretty long run. But yeah, so I'm not opposed to it. But they're talking about the villain, and supposedly it's going to be a female villain. We should have had that on the docket too, but we might as well just talk about it now. Supposedly it's going to be a female villain, and I think that's the only big update coming out of Spider-Man 4 right now.
I don't know.
What's your theory?
Okay, sorry. Just the way you said that was so funny. What's your theory, bro? So I've been thinking about Sadie Sink and her character because we don't know who the girl is, right? In this, right? And so what I think, and I have no information about it, so this is pure just speculation and kind of what I would like if they go with the female villain. I would love if Sadie Sink's character played both a lover and a secondary villain in Spider-Man Brand New Day, because I do because if they go the female villain route, you have to have a bigger person at play. You and this isn't a sexist thing. It's just that like I was looking at Spider-Man Rogues Gallery of like female villains, and it's just not strong enough, bro. So like there has to be a stronger hand at play. And so I would love to where like if Sadie Sink is a love interest for Peter, I would like the idea of her also being some type of enemy that he might not know about at first, and maybe he finds out about it. So I think that she might play like a role like that. That's like my hope.
I kind of agree with you. So basically, yeah, there aren't any female villains of Spider-Man that are big enough to be the big bad in a Spider-Man movie. So that's why I don't really like it. And like Spider-Man has such a good rogues gallery. Like, why does it have to be a female once again? Like, why are we always having this conversation? It's so annoying. We all know why. And, like, you're gonna have Zendaya in this movie. You could have, Sadie Sink. Like, I just don't understand it. I mean, maybe, if it's Madeline Pryor, like that could maybe be kind of cool, but still, Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery is so much better than Madeline Pryor. And like, when people say like, oh, it could be Black Cat is not big bad material. Like that's like saying Catwoman should be the villain of the Batman Part 2. Like if you are going to tell me that you think Black Cat should be the villain of a Spider-Man movie, you have no idea what you're talking about. Or if you're going to tell me that Screwball should be the villain, which who said that, right?
Who?
Shoot from the hip. He said that. He was
No
like,
way.
yeah, bro, I'm not kidding. And
that's fresh off a Google search for sure. He was searching on Google for that one.
He probably played the Spider-Man game, but he was too dumb to realize that like she wasn't a big bad. Yeah, so it's just ridiculous. It's like, and Marvel, you're not in the position to be doing stuff like this, and it's Spider-Man. Like, come on.
Yeah, I really hope that rumor is not true, bro. But and for me, it's like there's just like if there was a female villain that he had,
Meek. Appreciate that.
What do you say? Oh, Meek, thank you, homie. But like if he had a female villain that was powerful like that, like I'll be game, but he doesn't. That's just he just doesn't have that. I looked at all these articles, I ChatGPT'd, I was even looking at the comics because in the freaking Marvel app, like they got all these characters that Spider-Man is tied to. There's no big bad that he really goes against. That the level that Spider-Man is on, it just doesn't fit at all.
They were also saying they were casting an Asian male between 30 and 40 or 50 or something. So like that seems like it would be Mr. Negative, but they never said that the Asian male was going to be the villain. So who knows if this is accurate or not, but Mr. Negative would be a great choice. Like everybody loves Mr. Negative. He is definitely a menacing figure. Like he has the duality because of the Fee Center. Like he's just a great choice. I think that would be one of the best choices they could go with.
Yeah, and they're also trying to cast someone around the same age as Tom Holland too. So hopefully it's Harry Osborn.
Oh, that would be sick. Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah, because Harry, like if you announce at Comic-Con Harry and Norman, that makes this movie 10 times better right there. Yeah. You can't miss that one, guys.
They should because say they did a villain like Mr. Negative, but you brought in Harry and Norman. You know what that would mean? The Green Goblin is coming down the line. We might not get him now, but we'll get him in Spider-Man 5 or 6. That's kind of what the Spider-Man games did. They had Norman Osborn in the first game. Then they had him be part of the second game. And now it looks like he's going to be the big bad villain, Green Goblin, in the third, and they've been hyping that up since the first game came out. So when it finally happens, people are going to lose their minds. So if you build up to Spider-Man 6 Green Goblin and starting in Spider-Man 4, like that would be a power move.
Great point, brother. Such a great point.
Thanks.
I'm going to crash out if they don't retcon Zendaya's Michelle Jones to Mary Jane and give her red hair. Facts. Wish the channel great sex. Meek, thank you, homie. We really appreciate you, man. Black Cat, Scorpion, Rhino, Shocker, Chameleon. Yo, I can't stand Rhino, dude. Oh, Rhino drives me crazy. I've never liked a Rhino. I was hoping it was Mr. Negative, bro. We hope so, bro. That'll be fun. And also like Aunt May was already working at his spot, so it makes sense for him to be the next character. I remember some idiotic intellectual inferior told me.
There we go.
Yeah, I love it, bro. That the MCU already used the Green Goblin in No Way Home. The variant one, homie. Oh gosh. Okay. Now, next topic here. Let's pull this up. So we are talking about one of the acting goats. It is funny because a lot of people don't give Samuel L. Jackson his flowers. He's one of the most consistent actors of our time, guys. He's always in something. Shout out to Samuel, man. He's a legend. Something very interesting. So Mace Windu has been making rounds in fandom lately, mostly because Revenge of the Sith had their re-release. Let me pull this out for you guys. I got the popcorn tin right here. You guys see it for Revenge of the Sith. Super dope. But in California, Samuel L. Jackson actually popped up with Hayden, and fans went crazy. So Bryce Dallas Howard, she got asked what movie she would make for Star Wars. So Bryce Dallas Howard, she is one of those talented actors / director combos. She was in Jurassic World. Her dad is a legendary director as well, and she directed a lot of episodes from Mando season 1 and 2, which is one of the best Star Wars seasons of all time. And so she was saying that she has inquired about bringing Mace back for a movie, and a lot of fans have been very excited about bringing Mace back. Now, I also don't think this is a coincidental thing because of the fact that I'm pretty sure Star Wars Theory, he has a fan film with that, and I'm not sure if Mace might be in this, but I remember like back in the day, one of his fan films had a Mace that didn't die. And so I don't think it's a coincidence because Star Wars Theory has talked about this forever, and I do think like they pulled from some of the stuff. But anyways, so why do you think fans are so hyped for a Mace film or a Mace movie? You know, like why is it that fans get so excited for stuff like that?
I think Mace Windu is a character. Number one, I think fans want to see more Jedi, less Skywalker. And I think fans really like Mace Windu. Like he had balls in episode 3, when he was like, I'm going to strike you down right now to Palpatine. And I think fans like that. I think that resonated. So I think fans want to see, number one, I think fans want more Jedi, less Skywalker. Number two, I think Mace Windu's character really resonated with people. And I think fans would, it's like checks all the right boxes for what fans are looking for right now.
100%, bro. And I agree. I think bringing back Mace would be fun. And with the fact that Lucasfilm is in the place of writing a script for their next 3 films, it will be fun to do a Mace film. And also Mace is a Jedi that is just ruthless. He's a very violent character, like the way that he fights. His fighting style is called Vapad, but basically he takes someone's dark side power and he projects it back onto them through his fighting style. And it's actually a very dangerous fighting style. And to be honest, that fighting style would have saved Anakin. But anyways, sorry for another day. But I think that with Mace, I would love to see an origin on Mace and how he became the Jedi that he is now. And you could also cast like another actor to play the younger version leading into the older. So I think that like that could really be like something special, bro.
Yeah, and you could kind of give him like someone who trained him, kind of how Anakin had Obi-Wan, and you could, bring in a new character, or maybe the lore already has, someone that trained him that's, in some of the books or something. But I think that would be cool. But I know John-Kamen was super hyped about this idea, and he's like, he actually said, I don't really, care much for Mace Windu, but when you tell me Bryce Dallas Howard wants to direct it, I'm game. He was like, I loved her episodes of Mandalorian. Yeah. And he actually said something really nice because he was like, I wrote her after and she wrote me back. And it was like one of the nicest things anyone's done in the industry. And that was cool to hear because John-Kamen is, first of all, I've listened to his podcast for years, but he's also a super stand-up guy. He once was watching our show and he joined in on the comments and he sent us a donation. So super stand-up guy, and love to hear that he's getting love back in the industry.
Facts, bro. And Bryce is very talented, and like they try to promote these. And what is crazy to me is like they gave Chloe Zhao Obi-Wan. You should have put Bryce on that, bro. Like Bryce is proven, and this might be a hot take. I wouldn't mind if she directed the next trilogy. She just gets it. She gets Star Wars, man. She does. So
yeah.
Like you want a female, that's who you pick, not these random people that don't have any skin in the game. And that's another part where I think Lucasfilm fumbled the bag is they don't hire enough in-house, bro. Like you have all these people that have worked on Star Wars shows and projects, like they understand the boundaries. Like give them the movie. Anyways.
Right. And it's not about picking her because she's a female. It's about picking her because she's right for the job. Yep. And she just happens to be a female.
Exactly, bro. All right, let's see. Where said that? I just saw the fan made Mace with all sorts of facial scoring. I don't know if it was just a quick edit. Facts, bro. Was that on Star Wars? Because Star Wars Theory did have where Mace, like his left eye, like was like blind. It was insane, bro.
Yo, that sounds fire. I would love to see that. So, Meek, please let me know where you saw it.
Facts. Yeah. I think I have it somewhere. Yeah, I'll definitely send it after the show if Meek doesn't send that link. This is a question off topic. Excuse me. But do you guys think the Secret Wars leads to a soft reboot, or that it will be like F4 and the X-Men have always been here and we don't know
I
about it kind of deal?
I don't think it's going to be a reboot at all. I think there's going to be some kind of resolution from how they get to Secret Wars to the next saga and like the planet and everything like that. But I don't think it's going to be a reboot. I don't think characters are going to be recasted. I think that is a crazy talk myth that has been something that fans have imagined, and I think that a lot of fans don't understand what speculation is, and I think a lot of fans when a lot of fans speculate the same things and those fans don't understand speculation, it seems like they start taking their own speculation as fact. I don't think that there's a reboot coming.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, but my thoughts that I've pondered it from time to time. I do think they're going to micro focus. I think they're going to micro focus on the big characters. I think that Charlie Cox is going to be a focus. I think that the X-Men are going to be a focus. I think the Fantastic Four are going to be a focus. The question that I have for the MCU is, what are you going to do with all of the other characters? Like, what are you going to do with Hawkeye and Kate and the Thunderbolts? Even like, what are you going to do with that? Those are the questions I have.
I do. So the only characters I think will be recasted are like the Fox X-Men, who are not real MCU native characters to begin with. But I do agree with what Stevie's saying, because I do think that there's going to be, like, I don't know if I would call it a micro focus, but I know we've spoken about this before, so I know what he's talking about. Is like, there's going to be Daredevil, the Punisher, Spider-Man, and there's going to be things going on in New York, but there's also going to be things going on with the X-Men at the same time, and they might not necessarily have any direct relation to each other, but it doesn't matter because it's in the same universe. So two separate things could be going on, and maybe there's more than two separate things. Maybe there's three. But I do kind of agree. I do agree with him there. I do think there's going to be a couple different things going on. Granted, I do think it's going to be the mutant saga. I think that they're going to be largely focused on the mutants, meaning the big movies are going to be mutant X-Men movies. If I had to guess what they're going to do with the characters like Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, I think that they will continue to do Disney Plus shows for those characters. I don't think that those characters will start just getting movies. The movies are going to be saved for the bigger, more A-list characters, and characters like Hawkeye, Miss Marvel will continue to be Disney Plus product.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Tell you, man, you don't get this anywhere else, man. I'm telling you.
Facts.
What about characters like Iron Man and Cap? Do we just not have them anymore?
I kind of think that they're coming back, because I think that if they already brought Chris Evans back in Deadpool and Wolverine. So literally the second to last MCU movie we've seen, he was in it. We know RDJ is coming back too. So if they're bringing back Chris Evans and RDJ, and they're all in on the retro cameos, and they're going all the way back to the Fox X-Men, why not bring back Iron Man and Captain America at that point? So I do think that they will have appearances in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but I don't think they're going to stay around after Secret Wars.
I think they are, but they're just not going to be as accessible. I think they're going to pop up when needed. Hopefully, because it's sad to say, but they need them. They need them. They really do. They really do. They need Iron Man more than Steve, or they need Stark more than Steve, though. I think Sam fills the void enough, but there's no void that will fill for Stark, in my opinion.
And I agree with you, but I don't know if they see it that way. They might see it as, we'll be okay with the mutants and the X-Men. They might see it that way.
In the Fantastic Four, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a little
And Spider-Man, they might be like, our roster's looking pretty stacked, in, like once the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And
wouldn't mind some infamous Iron Man after though. That would be
yeah. That's what I said. Because Infamous Iron Man, for those of you that don't know, is, first of all, it's an amazing comic. But what happens is after Secret Wars, after Secret Wars or Civil War II, I think maybe both, but Iron Man dies. And Doctor Doom takes the Iron Man suit and redesigns it to, his liking. And he calls himself Infamous Iron Man because he is trying to be a superhero instead of a supervillain. And at first, people don't really believe him. And, it's a redemption arc. So when people are like, oh, RDJ is coming back, so it's going to be Infamous Iron Man. It's like, okay, you're an intellectual inferior because you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And trying to pass it off like you do know what you're talking about. But Infamous Iron Man is a redemption arc. You can't have a redemption arc unless you have him as the villain first. But it would be really cool if they did Infamous Iron Man and had him on the Avengers. The thing about Infamous Iron Man, though, is that Victor Von Doom is not a superhero, so it obviously didn't last. If you know Victor Von Doom, he is not going to stay a good guy for long.
Switches teams like LeBron James, baby. All right, next topic here. All right, guys, we got about 4 topics left. Okay, so now let's talk about some Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. So Ryan Reynolds talked about the future and where he wants Deadpool to be. So he said that he wants Deadpool to become more of a supporting character in the MCU movies. Could you see that being a possible thing after this film? And obviously there's talks about them maybe doing a second film with him and Huey. But could you see him being more of a supporting character, jumping in and out of certain stories and movies?
You know what's funny? When I saw the headline that Ryan Reynolds spoke about Deadpool's future in the MCU, before I clicked it, because I was like driving and I thought about it, exactly what I thought was exactly what he said. I don't think that Deadpool could really be in the big Avengers movies. I just think that he is he's too comedic, where if you have him in a scene, it's going to make the dynamic comedic no matter what you do, because his comedic presence is so significant that he could show up as like a side character in some movies, but you have to be really careful about which movies and which scenes you use him in, and you can't put him in a movie like Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, bro, because you're right. With Deadpool, you have to nerf him down to a level where like it would just be weird. Like, you can't just have him just standing in the background for no reason. Like, it would look weird. Like, imagine Deadpool fading away in Avengers Infinity War. Like, he would do something stupid while he's fading. You know what I mean? But there could be some movie where he could pop up in where it would be fun. Like, I don't know. I've really given it much thought, but like I know a lot of people want him to appear in Spider-Man. The only thing I don't see is because Spider-Man does sell to kids a lot, and I don't think that they will want to bring those two. Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good point too. But I don't think he belongs in the Spider-Man movie, even with that, without the kids. But that's a good point. But like, aside, you add Deadpool to something for the comedic dynamic. Like, there are so many other heroes that could do what he could do in terms of like adding to the combat, even though his combat is unique and obviously he's very skilled. You're talking about the Marvel universe. They have enough superheroes. If they're going to add him to a scene, like if you want that scene to be taken seriously and then you have Deadpool in it, it's hard to do that. So you got to be really, really smart about where and when you put him.
100%, bro. 100%. Let's see some chats real quick. Deadpool sounds grunge.
Yeah.
What does that mean, grunge?
Like gritty punk rock.
Okay, yeah. Facts. what about characters like? Oh, we just talked about that. And I've always wanted, like, the next time we see the MCU after Secret Wars, if it is a reboot, we see the world from the perspective of a mutant instead of a perspective of like Tony Stark. The only reason I bring up a reboot is I feel that a lot of people need a new introduction to the MCU, and bringing the X-Men in an already established universe and have to explain them seems messy. So, but here is the thing. I think that you can bring them into a new world without calling it a reboot. And that's why we have characters like Franklin and people like that. So, but hopefully they'll figure it out. But anyway, Star Wars, that's kind of cool. All right. Now let's talk about some Monica Rambeau. So, wait, I didn't even put a thing in here. Okay, I'm gonna remove that for right now. Okay, so in regards to Monica Rambeau, so and you and I talked about this the other day. So there's a rumor going around that Monica Rambeau is going to be on the X-Men, and that she will have an actual X-Men suit. And this obviously makes sense because when she goes through that portal, or that, well, I think it's an
Incursion wall.
Yeah, incursion wall. But when she goes through that, she ends up in the X-Men universe. And the only thing that popped up into my mind is that, oh my gosh, they are removing Monica Rambeau away from Captain Marvel. And I also was looking at Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Haven't heard much about her. And I do think that they are also working on separating her from Captain Marvel as well. And she might even possibly be on the new X-Men team, because she has been on the X-Men from a time to time. And I wouldn't be shocked if they use that to try to get her away from the Marvel brand. So I wanted to ask you, what is kind of your outlook on why Marvel Studios is potentially moving Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan away from Carol, and kind of like they're kind of doing maybe like their own thing?
I think that Marvel never truly believed in Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, because if they did, she would have been in so many more movies and she would have appeared so much more and have had such a larger presence in the MCU. She's just such a superpowered character that, like, and they involve her in the Avengers, and she's also intergalactic. So it's pretty easy to put her in movies and scenes and whatnot, but they really haven't. And I think that they initially believed in her, and then I think they saw things they didn't like. I think they saw that they didn't like how the movies were formed. They didn't like how the movies and the character was received, and they probably didn't like some of her comments and the way she, disrespected her colleagues in public interviews, like the infamous one with Chris Hemsworth. So I think that all of that happened, and then the Marvels was a huge flop. And I think they were really disappointed about that, because I think that they really wanted the Marvels to work because it was not just about her, and it was also about Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau Photon. And they wanted that movie to put Miss Marvel to be like this huge character that young girls were going to obsess over, and that just never happened. Yeah. And I think they blame a lot of that on Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, and I also think that if they really did believe in her, they wouldn't have had her share not just the movie, but the title with other characters, because it wasn't Captain Marvel 2, it was the Marvels. So I think that they now want to put some distance in the characters that they want to matter in the MCU, but between those characters and Captain Marvel. So I think that's one of the reasons they are going to put some distance between Photon, Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. And I'm sure, we'll see they're going to do something. They're going to probably do something creative with Miss Marvel as well.
Yeah. The Russos definitely don't like her, bro. They definitely don't, dude. I mean, she
Her
She
screen
won.
time was like 10 seconds.
Dude. I mean, they had her to get Stark back to Earth, and then after that, we didn't see her for the rest of the movie. Other
Yeah.
than a hologram, a quick hologram.
And then, and other than she flew through Thanos' suit and was one of 30 people that threw the gauntlet.
Yeah, man, it was quick. So I mean, and then she wasn't even on the casting chairs, which I thought was funny. And I was like,
what?
dang, yeah.
I think she had potential too, because I liked the first Captain Marvel.
Mhm.
I thought she was good in it. I really did. But I think that she made too many self-inflicted missteps.
100%. A lot of mistakes, and and you and I do talk about the industry so sometimes, and about the business side, about like, you guys got to understand, man, when you get into these corporate type of settings, you got to watch your mouth, you know what I mean? Because you can pay for it for sure.
Yeah, and I think that there's always going to be fans that are gonna, especially the fans that will defend like some of the things she said, and they'll be like, it's crazy, because they'll be like, oh, well, she didn't do anything wrong. And it's like, I understand you like what she said, but you have to be able to understand that it doesn't sit right with a lot of people. You have to understand that the way she disrespected Chris Hemsworth doesn't sit right with a lot of people, even if you do like her. And I feel like there is a certain faction of the fandom that, as long as they agree with it, they have no common sense about it.
And think about this. The actress that played Monica and the actress that plays Kamala Khan, they both didn't get caught saying anything stupid and reckless.
By the way, the Kamala Khan actress, Iman Vellani, is one of the greatest Marvel casting.
She's
That
awesome.
girl is phenomenal. And this was like her first big acting job. I mean, she is just such a likable, bubbly, fun, and you could tell she's like super passionate about it. I want that girl to go far in life.
By the way, Aman, if you ever want to get interviewed on this show, we would love to have you on this show.
We really would.
Yeah, we are big fans of you. Like, come on. She's awesome. Yeah. She's awesome. All right. Now let's get to the next topic here. We got two more topics around here. So let's talk about some Avengers Doomsday plot rumors. If you don't want, this is a rumor, it's not confirmed, but if you don't want to hear anything, you can leave now. But it's just for fun. I just thought it was fun to read this. So I came across it. So there's this guy, and I always think it's funny. Yo, I love X, greatest app in the world. But I think it's funny. There's always these guys where, like, I feel like some of them aren't legit. They just act like they're these Hollywood insiders, but they're just taking people's stuff and then reposting it and then act like they're insiders. I think it's funny. But this guy, his name is I'm not gonna say his name, but he posted a rumor, and he said this. He said, in Avengers Doomsday, Doom will enter the void in the final act and open the doors to the citadel of the end of time, just as Loki and Sylvie did. And then they said the heroes will try to stop him from reaching Loki, and Doom will have his Doom bots of villains and evil versions of heroes to help him. Now, since you are the Doom, what is the word? Since you are like the master of research for Dr. Doom, right? So I know that Dr. Doom turns on people, but I did want to ask you, so has there ever been a story, because I haven't really, like, all of the stuff that I've read about Doom, he's pretty much kind of on his own, but when you've read Doom, has he ever gravely like depended on someone to do something, or is he always the type of guy where he's like, you know what, like, I'll do it myself? Like could you see him having villains and all these other characters helping him? Like, does that sound like Dr. Doom?
It's rare, but he like had his allies in the original, Secret Wars to beat Beyonder and steal the power. Doom has teamed up with Kang the Conqueror a few times, but what you have to also understand is he is very egotistical about everything he does. So like there's always also a time where Dr. Doom used there was some cosmic threat to Earth, and it was like a life or death situation. I forget the exact details, but the short of it is that there was Dr. Doom wanted to be the one to save the planet because he wanted the credit that if Dr. Doom was going to do good, he could do it better than anyone. And some of the science that he was going to use was Reed Richards. And then he was like, well, Reed is going to fuck with me. And then he went back and forth and he kind of messed it up. And he was like, Reed did this intentionally to get in his head. So in grave circumstances, yes, he has allied with people, but he doesn't like depending on anything other than himself for egotistical reasons, but also because he really does believe he is the best, and he doesn't like trusting people because he always thinks that people are going to do the worst to him. And the second he thinks you're going to do something bad to him, he doesn't even care if he has a reason to believe that you're going to do it. He'll kill you just on sight like that. He's done it to Kang a number of times. Like, Doom is so savage, and he's wild, man. He really is one of the greatest characters of all time.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So Doom might work with people, but there's always like that underlying of like he always has a backup plan. Yeah.
Yes, and only if he really has to. Like, he's gonna get to the end somehow, but it means justify the end.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know if you're up to date in One World Under Doom, but that last issue was wild.
I have to catch up. I'm like 2 issues behind.
Okay.
Yeah, because I started the one you sent, but then I just got bombarded with stuff, so I got to catch up. But I will say this though, man, I am hyped for Doomsday, and obviously Loki is obviously a key to this because he's holding all the timelines together. I do wonder if like we're going to see like any physical changes to Loki. Does it make him more powerful? Does it make him weaker? Like those are some things because like I would love if Loki could put up some type of fight. I hope that he just doesn't get one-shotted like he did in Infinity War.
Yeah, me too.
It is going to be funny though that he died in the first Avengers. Now he's going to die. He's probably going to die in the second one. It's like, dang, they hate you, bro. Like we're gonna make you one of the most powerful characters ever, only for a couple, only for
5 seconds. Yeah.
All right, look, y'all. So we are gonna finish these next 2 topics, and then we're gonna finish the chats in the end. All right, y'all. I just want to get through these last 2 here. So I want to talk about the script for the X-Men. So there was a news that dropped, and the news that dropped was Mr. Sinister is going to be the first villain for the X-Men. And then Dan the Nerds, shout out Josh, he ended up commenting on this, and he said that there hasn't been a lot of news. He said the only thing that we know is about Mr. Sinister and that the script for X-Men is already done. And I think what he's saying is like we don't know anything about casting. They've been very quiet about it, which I'm happy about. It does seem like Marvel Studios is really like closing up, bro, on casting and stuff. I mean, because we haven't heard much. But I wanted to see how you felt about them already being done with the X-Men script. Does that make you feel more comfortable that they're trying to get ahead of the game early, or or are you wanting more news? Like, how do you feel about that?
I just hope that the X-Men script takes into consideration the ending of Secret Wars, because if this movie is going to come after Secret Wars, like it's going to have to consider that it exists in a world after Secret Wars. So that's my only concern.
Yep, exactly. And with that being said, I hope that they already have the ending done.
Yeah. Because remember, like after Endgame, it was like the blip and the mural to Tony Stark and things like that. So obviously, the ending of Secret Wars is going to have some implications on the Earth that they're going to be on.
1,000%, bro. And like it does seem like there is some general idea that they have, maybe, because like it always like I hope that Feige has like a vision for what the end is, but they're trying to find the way to get to it. So that's what I hope it is. Kind of like a Steve Jobs thing. So we'll see what happens. All right, and then lastly here, y'all, I want to talk about this look at Superman and Lois Lane. So this dropped today. This is from USA. We just added this before we hopped on here, but this was on USA Today. They added this look of Superman. Just want to say, man, the suit looks super slick here. I really like the way the suit looks. Lois Lane looks great, and the purple cardigan, such a Lois Lane outfit to wear. And I love like the little rumble behind them. Very, very Superman like. How do you like this? Just this.
I love it. I saw this photo before, and I thought it looked great. But like I said before, they can't burst their hype bubble too soon, and there's a lot of criticism on James Gunn and the rollout, and I think all that criticism is going to fall flat because when you look at the results of the hype of this movie, everything they've done, anytime they release something real, like the trailer, the extended cut, or this photo, fans get excited over it, and the hype and the metrics around the hype is undeniable. The hype for this movie just feels different than anything we've felt or experienced in a long time.
By the way, bro, Cornsweat's tall, man. That's a tall dude, bro.
Is he standing on something?
I don't know, but he looks dumb tall in this, bro.
He does.
Yeah. Could you search how tall he
is?
6'4"? Ooh, yeah, he tall.
He's not standing on a cinder block.
Dude, just mad tall.
Yeah.
Dang, bro, that's fire. That's fire. By the way, I love Cornsweat. I think I was kind of looking at his Instagram and stuff. I didn't know that he just got I think got married like a year ago. He seems like a stand-up guy, man.
Yeah,
like
good for him. He does seem like a stand-up guy. I agree.
Yeah, man. And like and as I said before, I love their press run. The things they've been saying has really had me sold. So shout out to them. All right. Let's hit some chats before we get out of here. We'll start. Here we go. All right. But anyways, Star Wars kind of cool. All right. She's a mutant, Monica, that is. Is Monica technically a mutant because she wasn't born with her powers? She got her powers through like a science experiment. Or not through a science experiment, but she got her powers through Wanda, technically. She was the new Captain Iron Man, right? Right? So the big three was supposed to be Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and T'Challa. And obviously, those things didn't happen. But and they were hinting to it because Captain Marvel was in Shang-Chi, right? But for some reason she stopped showing up, you know, and it was weird because like in that scene, Wong says to Shang-Chi's like, welcome to the world, right? And then we never see her till the Marvels. Captain Marvel caught doping. Oh my gosh, you guys are stupid. She was just super out of touch in facts. She-Hulk. That's another project that's just so corny, bro. I thought the Marvel change was kind of stupid, and unnecessary, but it's not that big of a deal. But I hate changes like that. I agree. I loved Marvel, but Carol Danvers, like I wasn't against it, bro. I agree. It's not that big of a deal.
I think they did that because they wanted to call it Captain Marvel, like the brand Marvel, and have that name recognition.
That's fair. She calls the MCU 1999 and not serious. Yes, she does. Amon has a whole rant about that, where she thinks that the MCU is 1999, not.
I do too, by the way, because if the comics are the 616, the MCU can't also be the 616.
Yeah,
because I just say 616 because everyone understands what I'm saying. But if the comics are the 616, the MCU can't be the same universe.
Yeah. Yep. Because this is an adaptation. This is not, it's not a mirror of the comics at all.
It's not even an adaptation, it's inspiration. But the point is that if this was the 616, it has to be the comics universe. It's not. The comics universe, you can't have two universes be the same thing but different at the same time.
Yeah. And that's why I stopped saying 616. I just say the MCU. So I just sound like I call it MCU now because it's like, dude, you just don't know at this point. And then I think in Deadpool and Wolverine, they called it the 616. I forget. Somebody called the MCU the 616. I think it was Spider-Man and Far From Home.
But the problem with saying the 616 or MCU is that if you say the MCU and you're talking about when they were at the Baxter Building in, the 838, and then they go back to the MCU unit, like You have to have a number for it.
Yeah, true. We should make our own number.
So nobody knows what we're talking about. They need to they need to put some literature out, like a guide. That's what they really should.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's like crazy.
He's right. Any choice? Any chance the older MCU big bads come back? I would love to see Ultron, dog. Oh, look, Smiles Frown said that.
I would love to see Ultron.
Oh, he's gonna be in Vision. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to muscle through that show, dude.
Yeah. Vision's so annoying.
Yeah, dude. I think Doom has teamed up with Loki as well. Heroes like Fantastic Four collectively can overcome any power stones and medallions. Reed is the Mind Stone. Fact. Yeah, right. Ultimate Doctor Doom manipulated Magneto in one of those books. Could happen in the movie, but I doubt it. Yo, Doctor Doom and Magneto conversation.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
I am the devourer of comics. Having the script done already makes me believe that they have some sort of plan with the X-Men. That this is being thought out ahead of time. And look, we hope so. That's what we want, man. We want freaking consistency. Marvel machine, right?
Yep.
Same as Reeves. Are you talking about Matt Reeves? That'd be my guess. Matt Reeves. But yeah. So all right, y'all. We are going to end the stream, man. We hope you guys have fun. We obviously have fun. Please follow Comic Cuts on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Just follow me at TikTok as Superherocuts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're probably gonna do some theater reactions after Thunderbolts 2. So, and if you guys have anything to say about it, please leave some comments because, even if you guys comment on this stream after, we can still respond to them on our next show if you guys have anything you want to say. So we hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy Thunderbolts and peace out.